how to get an international remote job if you're starting from day one. So I'm going to walk you through the process, and these steps are important and it's going to help you understand the truth to landing international remote job. Let's get right into it. So step number one, acquire an in-demand skill. So don't let anybody deceive you and say remote jobs you can get without experience, remote international companies hire you, no experience required, remote jobs you can do with your phone. All of those things are kind of like exaggerated. They may not be an outright lie, but they're exaggerated. The more skilled you are, the more specialized you are, the more niched you are, the more experienced you are, the more money you can make if you're looking to work remotely for international brands. So if you are starting your journey from ground zero, the first thing I would advise you to do is go and acquire an in-demand skill. If you look around in 2026, you notice that there are many startups, SaaS, AI startups, automation. These are the big things now. So, and social media content creation is a big part in marketing. So if you can work in any of those verticals, like somewhere around here, you know that you have a high demand. So it can be graphic design, social media management, content creation, content marketing. Be good at it. So that is the first stage. If you want to make money, if you want to get high paying remote job, you must learn an in-demand skill, one, and niche. So this is not the time to say you are the niche, I am the niche. You must pick one skill and learn it and actually be good at it. So tip number two, practice. Practice your skill and build experience. I know you want to get remote jobs that do not require experience. See, let me not lie to you. As I've worked in recruitment, my experience working in a recruitment company, I can tell you firsthand that the more experienced you are, the better opportunities you can learn. And even for internship roles, they require you to have some form of experience around that job field or around that job role. Experience is very important. And sometimes you might even have the experience, you might not know you already have the experience. So you'll be like, okay, I want to start from the beginning. How do I gain experience? You gain experience by actually doing the work. Now we're in the digital age, and this is, you can easily get experience. You can pick up a passion project and do. If you've taken a copywriting course, start writing copies, follow copywriters, subscribe to email newsletters, and start rewriting copies people have written. That is what will help you to brush your skill, because you cannot say that you're a writer and someone say, okay, let me see what you have written, and say, oh, I've not written before, and you're a writer. See that the math is not adding up. So this is the most important part, the part to lock in and actually do the work. Do it for free. That is the first way. Let me even share a secret with you. The first way to get your foot in the door after you've taken a course, after you've practiced, you're looking to getting your first client, is actually you have to do free work. You can't run away from doing free work. That is how this stuff works. Look for a business, do a free work. When you know you're good at what you do, I'll give a money back guarantee. That's the way to put your foot in the door, get those testimonials, get those reviews, get the experience, and build your portfolio. Step number three, document your process. 2026 is different from 2015. So the playbook that worked in 2015, all of those times, is not the same playbook working now. So those days, like, let your work speak for you. These times, the digital competition is fierce. So if you're good at something and you don't position yourself as good at that thing, nobody is going to know you're good at that thing. So you have to show that you are good at that. So once you are learning, get on a social media platform and start to document your process. Now, we're not saying you're an expert copywriter. We are not saying you are the guru, you are the expert or anything. You are just documenting your process. This is what I learned. This is a client job I did. This is my first client. And you're building a community of people, and people will correct you. You might even find your first clients that way. Documenting your process online actually serve as your digital portfolio. Now, if someone wants to hire you or wants to, consider you for a role, they'll go to search for you on social media or just Google you. What comes out is actually your digital footprint, and it will determine whether or not you get hired. So you may be asking, where can you start documenting your process? You can choose any social media platform you like, but I recommend LinkedIn and X. LinkedIn being my first priority, because that is where you have hiring managers, decision makers in companies. And if you look at LinkedIn, there are more people in the US, different parts of the world on the platforms, and these are company hiring managers, decision makers that might need to hire. So your post might just be getting to the eyes of the right person, and you might just be hired. So tip number four, create a good portfolio. So once you start doing some practice work, maybe you get a few these things to start building your portfolio. It doesn't matter if it's a voluntary work you did, start to put all of those things in your portfolio. Number five, going to where you find prospective international clients. Go on platforms that build more international appeal. So if you look at some social media platforms, I think, for instance, Facebook, Instagram, they are more like locked geographically. So maybe when you post something, mostly people in your environment, maybe like if you're a Nigerian, you're Kenyan, mostly Kenyan people or Nigerian people or South African, whatever, wherever you are, we get to see your post and your stuff, interact with your post. But there are other platforms like, I think like LinkedIn, I think like YouTube, they have a more international appeal. So it's the kind of content you create that will determine who comes to you. So I just want to get that out there. So if you are looking to learn international, so go on platforms where international companies are. So we're going to break this down into different segments. So first of all, if you are looking at landing your first few gigs quick, pretty fast, you want to get the reviews, you want to get your portfolio up and running, I would advise you to go on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. So why do I advise people to start with Fiverr and Upwork? Because that is where it's just by gig. You can create a gig on Fiverr today and you get someone buy your gig and you get a review, and it just keeps the momentum, keep you going as you are just getting your foot in the door. Your first $5 client, $10, $20, everything is adding up. You are building your portfolio, building the reviews and all of that, so that you start to use those stuff, those reviews, those work experiences. Maybe you did a copy for even if a $5 copy, $10 copy, and the client is happy with it. You can now document, this is what I did, how I did it. Nobody's going to know if you earned just $5 or $10 from that gig. So you can now post it on LinkedIn and all of that. So this has a compounding effect. So that's why I advise to go on those platforms, register. There are a plethora. There are many freelance platform, gigs platform that can allow you get started as a newbie. So once you do that, the next thing is for you to start creating on social media. Start creating content to attract the kind of clients that you want. Now, this is where the thing comes in. If you create the kind of content that attracts views, likes, that will attract your peers, saying funny stuff, you're not going to get international businesses. You have to look at what kind of content who do you want to attract. If you want to attract international businesses, you have to now start creating content that solves their problem and positions you as the best person to do the work. So that's the kind of content you are creating with the kind of appeal. So those kind of content will appeal to those kind of, it doesn't matter if it doesn't have likes. If you have a few likes, a few comments, what you need is for this kind of content to get to the eyes of the right people, not your friends and family and your mates just playing around. So there's a balance with that. Another strategy that will help you get international clients, and this is what I did when I got my first remote job, is actually I use Google. I use Google and LinkedIn. Now people don't understand the power of Google. People just want to be on TikTok. There's the power of Google, and maybe ChatGPT can even help you. So what you are going to do is I search for agencies. It's easier to get get a remote job if you are from Africa, from Nigeria. Working with an international agency is easier than with a full-time company, because those companies do not like to really hire contractors, or it's a lot more difficult. So when you go with agencies, so you can search for, maybe you are looking to work in California or Colorado in the US. You search for, maybe you're a social media person, maybe social media management agency in California. Now, when you search for that, you're going to see loads of those companies. So you can take a look at the websites, go through, check their career page. They might actually even be hiring. You can check them out on LinkedIn too, and check the jobs there, or make a comment or contact somebody. This is one of the simple strategies people do not even realize. So this is another strategy that I'll share with you to get international remote jobs, is look for startups. Startups are more open to hiring international remote job candidates or international remote talent. So where do you find startup companies? So there are startup directories like Product Hunts, Y Combinators, all of those startup directories. Now you see startups every day, like a lot of startups, AI startups, SaaS startups, different kind of startups. So you go there, you see startups, and you can now check the startups on LinkedIn. If they have open jobs, you can apply. If they don't have open job, if it's something that is related to what you can do, you see that you find a space that you can actually fill in that company. You can now go ahead to shoot your shot, send them a code EDM, or just outreach them and let them know the value that you're bringing, and you might just end up getting hired. These are like a few of the simple ways to actually land an international opportunity. Another way is also to openly pitch. I've seen people do this on different platforms, especially on LinkedIn. If there's a company you like, you see that there's a space for you, they can openly pitch this company using a video, and you might just actually get the job. So if there's anything you're going to be taking from this video, is that getting an international remote job is not as less strategic as you would normally get a job. There are fundamental things that you have to do. You have to find your niche. You have to acquire an in-demand skill. I'm like, okay, I don't know this skill to acquire. I actually made a video to help you find your niche so that you know the kind of skill that you can acquire and you start building from there. The next thing you're going to do is build your portfolio, build your experience, practice what you've done, create your portfolio, create your CV. The next thing is to start documenting your process. You don't need to start creating videos. You can make posts on LinkedIn. Another thing is building your personal brand. For go to where these international businesses are, job websites, remote jobs, and all of those things. 5 is to actually start to outreach. See, a lot of people who have gotten international job are not people. If you are considering shame, then you are not ready to walk this path because it's a shameless path. You are going to get rejected a lot of times. I've gotten loads of rejection email, but that shouldn't stop you from, if this is what you want to achieve, this is your dream, rejections or no rejection, you have to just keep going. So you people send a lot of DMs, a lot of messages. So it's not all this when people say, oh, a company just reached out to me. Yeah, it happens. But in majority of the time, they are the ones reaching out. So you have to know how to reach out. It's very important. And if you're like, okay, I don't know, this whole thing is overwhelming for you. You don't know where to start. You don't know, I don't know the skill to acquire. I don't know how to niche. I don't know how to, I don't like social media. I don't know how to reach out. Like everything I've said is overwhelming to you, then don't worry because I have the solution. I actually created an ebook where I explain this whole thing in detail, step by step. Even if you've never worked before, you've never worked remotely before, this thing will help you. You will understand how this thing works, I even gave example of the kind of messages you should send, with platforms you should follow, you should build on, and all of that. So I'll drop the link to the course. Is an ebook and a course. So if you get the course, you get the ebook also for free. And you can always send me a message. I have the contact form on my website is here. My community, you can always send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to respond to your message if you have any this thing. But if you have any question, but if you absolutely do not know where to start, I recommend buying this course and you get the free ebook. Not because I created it, because it is by far the most comprehensive and the best resource you find on getting remote job from the beginning up until landing your first clients, landing your first attention. And people who have taken my course, the testimonials are everywhere. Someone that took the course just this January, that has never worked internationally before, got a response from a company in Dubai. So I'm happy because it works, and I know that it also works for you. So the link to get the course is in the description. And if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to respond to your comment. Immediately I see it, I'm going to respond to it. You can land a remote job, and here is the blueprint. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the comment section. Bye.